The following program contains shocking amounts of primary sources. If you suffer from addiction to rumors, this show might not be right for you. Check with your cheerleading captain.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Randall. Happy birthday to me. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for having me. You move me.
Speaking the truth when others hold their tongues. Wrestling for justice with left-wingers and crocodiles. Resisting the temptation to keep the peace at any price. The only talk show host who writes his own theme music, Randall Terry.
You say it's my birthday. It's my birthday too, yeah. You say it's my birthday. We're gonna have a good time. You say it's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Let's go to a word of wisdom. I can't help dancing. It's my birthday.
Them pansy bottom 501c3 pro-life groups, they gotta stop raising money for themselves and get a little backbone and muscle. Heck, I tell you what, they gotta get out there and chop some musk thistle for a day. It's gonna teach them hard work, sweat, and perseverance. Seems to me, they just a bunch of city slick and tenderfoots.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's program. I'm your host, Randall Terry. We're trying to find the money to buy a boom and a crane. You'll notice at the beginning of some of the really cool television shows that are out there, there's movement with the camera. Since we can't afford that right now, I'm moving to simulate a moving camera. How am I doing? By the way, it really is my birthday. Old Spice. Somebody gave me this toy pistol. Don't be alarmed. I'm a professional. This is a closed track. Oh! Wanted to hit the lens, just have it stick right there. All right. I've got nothing. We spent the whole night partying, the whole morning partying. I've actually got nothing to say. All right, let me start by something that's very close to my heart, very emotional for me. Education, homeschooling. My wife, tragically, recently had to take a trip to her hometown because someone near and dear to her passed away. And so she went to go to the funeral, and it was a long trip, so we decided it'd be best if our sons and I stayed home. Our sons are 10, 9, 8, and almost 7. So you can imagine what a very loud and ruckus house we have. Well, we have a private school. We're connected to a private school, which involves an extensive amount of homeschooling. And my wife, as a good teacher, the headmistress of an all-boys school, dutifully left me behind a lot of what the boys had to do. I was going to be the grand teacher, and I was. Well, it caused for me a crisis of conscience because, as you know, the vast majority of children are in government schools. And so I had an epiphany about their development and their education and how they could be better fitted to enter into society as men one day if, in fact, we took them out of their current setting and put them into a government school. And so I'm going to give you some of the reasons why. And please understand that what I'm about to share with you is I'm casting no aspersion on my wife for some of her clear shortcomings in what the boys need. And neither am I casting any aspersions on any public school teachers. Teaching is a vocation. It's an honorable one. Both my mom and my dad are career government school teachers. So here is what my day went like. Got 4 boys. Boys, it's time to read. A fight breaks out. He hit me, he touched me, he said something mean to me, and a large portion of my day was spent trying to break up fights. And a little light went off in my head. Click. I could just put them in the public school and I would never have to see the fights. I would never have to break them up. And they would go to the playground where the bully would dutifully beat them up, and they could learn how the real world worked. Okay? And I don't have to deal with it. Then it was time to practice music. All right? Each boy is learning their own instrument, and all of the boys are learning the piano. It's like pulling teeth sometimes. And then I thought, click. Put them in a public school where they don't give music lessons, so there's no stress related to the musical instrument, and they'll learn how to play the radio. I mean, what music do you need if you know how to hit play? Maybe somebody will give them an iPod and they can put those little ear things in and hurt their ears and develop a highbrow sense of music without the stress on me and my wife. Do I have to take a break? All right, when I come back, I need to tell you more because this involves sex education, it involves reading, it involves arithmetic, it involves socialization, and I'm going to take a burden off my wife and prepare my sons to live in this country, in this generation, as people that don't stick out, but they fit in. Don't go away. In the 1980s, banks introduced designer checks. When my buddy George Johnson inquired at the bank, they had nothing for pro-lifers. So the Johnsons created beautiful pro-life bank checks showing babies with a strong pro-life message. You can speak out for life with every check you write, whether personal or business checks. Be a voice for babies with these pro-life checks. Go to prolifecheckguy.com to see more. That's prolifecheckguy.com. Every day in America, over 3,500 babies are torn apart by abortion. Shouldn't all babies, like this living, unborn child, have the right to life? Baby killing will only end when Americans see the truth of what abortion does to innocent children. You can help end this Holocaust by showing the truth of abortion in your area with a Face the Truth tour. Go to facethetruthamerica.com to set up a Face the Truth tour in your area. The babies and their mothers will be eternally grateful. Happy birthday, Randall. Thank you, Randall. All right, so in case you just joined me, my wife has to take a 4-day trip. I am now in charge of the all-boys school. There's so many topics that we have to cover, and it is a big burden on my wife, and it became my burden for 4 days. We have the obligation, or at least someone does, to tell, oh, wait. If you've got small children in the room, have them get out, okay? For the rest of this segment, just have them go on out there. All right, so we have an obligation as parents to talk about the birds and the bees with our kids in an age-appropriate manner as time goes on. So I'm sitting there with my sons, and there's discussions about animals mating, and I'm thinking, all right, I've got to prepare them for what they're going to need to know as men and how this can be holy and pure and chaste, and it's a gift from God. But let's be honest, as parents, it can be a little awkward, right? It can be a little stressful. And then I thought, I should just put them in the local public school. I've got a friend who teaches at the elementary school who was telling me the very day that my wife was gone about a third grade girl writing a note to her first grade stepbrother, all right, this is a blended family, about all of the different things that she was going to do to him and for him. So the girl gives the note to the first grader, very explicit, and then it's being passed around with first graders and third graders and fourth graders before a teacher finally grabs it. And I thought, I don't need to teach my sons about this. I can put them in a government school and they're going to learn everything they need to know when they're in first, second, third, fourth grade. Burden off me, baby. All right, drugs. One of them had a little bit of fever. So I'm having to read the label. Do I give him Tylenol? Do I give him Motrin? Do I give him ibuprofen? Daddy, I don't want to swallow a pill. Daddy, give me the one that tastes sweet. And then I'm thinking, where we live right now, over 1/3 of the kids in the high school, number is unsure in elementary and in the middle school, but over 1/3 of the kids are on drugs right now. Several deaths occur in our local high school every year from drug overdoses, and fully 1/3 of the kids are on drugs. I'm sitting there thinking, duh, I don't have to worry about drugs and my own kids if I just put them in that setting. And then they can learn how to deal with real life. Reading. Reading is difficult, especially when you use the phonetic method, right? And then again, I thought, if I put my sons in public school, take the burden off my wife, we've got a promise from the federal government, no child left behind. And so the class is only going to move as quickly as the slowest member. And so if my son is the slowest member, or one of the slower ones, then the whole thing gets to revolve around them. I don't have the stress of having them learn to read, and they get to at least learn something. Bob beat Billy, or Susie slapped Johnny. I don't know. Or maybe they could read that note that the third grader was passing around with illustrations. All right, let's talk about self-esteem. In a homeschool setting, the curriculum is very clear. You have to get it right. Either it's right or it's wrong. And sometimes when you're teaching your child and they get a wrong answer, they cry and they feel bad about themselves and they say, oh, this is so hard. And some would argue that their self-esteem is hurt. I could put them in a government school that is rife with instruction on self-esteem, and they don't have to get anything right. Everyone's a winner. So their self-esteem can grow without the stress of mommy and daddy telling them that they got something wrong and that they need to do it again and learn how to do it right. It's a win-win. How about religion? Part of our curriculum involves discipling our sons, catechizing our sons, teaching them the Christian faith. And sometimes they're interested and sometimes they're not. I could put them in a public school where they could hear the name of God and our Lord Jesus Christ all day long. Yes. It might not be in prayer, but they'll hear his name all day long, and they can be taught the religion of the state, right? Relativism, all ideas are equal. You have your God, I have mine. You have your truth, I have mine. They get to learn religion, and it's the religion of the culture. They feel good about themselves. They have self-esteem. They fit in. Huh? How about socialization? We have 4 sons. They're almost all the same age. They're learning to be polite. They're learning to have manners. They're learning to be adults. And then I thought, we've got people that tell us all the time, I can't believe the vocabulary your children have. I can't believe how well behaved and well mannered they are. I'm starting to see this as a handicap. When they're 17, 18, 19 years old, how are they going to fit in with that group of people that will someday become their peers if they use big words that the other kids don't understand, right? And if they're polite and they're not talking about doing certain things with girls, if they're going to be properly socialized, it might be that they need to be in with the group of kids that are doing the stuff that my sons are going to be exposed to when they're 19, 20, 21. In other words, I should be trying to keep my kids, my sons, kids as long as possible. 12-year-old boys inside of a 28-year-old man's body. You understand. And then finally, sports. I know I'm over on time, but let me just finish this so I can. All right, fine. I'll take the break. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us, I'm explaining why it's a good thing for my wife and I to put our kids in a public school. And I'm also pretending that I've got a boom and I'm a big shot broadcaster. Look at me go. Check me out. I'm all that. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today. Overshot the runway with that boom. Hi. All right. My wife and I, in an all-boys school, 4 sons, teaching them all these things. Everyone knows that this country spends billions of dollars on sports. And if we're going to equip them to be men, good American men, they have to have a love of sports and a knowledge of the game. Right now, for example, we're teaching our sons basketball. My wife was quite a basketball player in her youth, in her high school, a lot of fun memories, knows the game, able to coach it. I played basketball when I was in junior high, loved the game. I can dunk like nobody's business, when the rim is down to 8 foot, oh, watch me go. So anyway, you can imagine that there's times where it's a lot of fun for the boys, but then there's times when it's a bit stressful. Traveling. What do you mean I can't take more than a step and a half? Double dribble. But I didn't mean to go like this with both hands. Well, you did. On and on. They're learning the rules of the game. They make mistakes. Tears start to flow. It's stressful. If I can put them in the public school, it's win-win. Everyone's a winner. Everyone gets a trophy. We look the other way when the rules are broken. Traveling, double dribble, fouling during a shot, loose ball fouls. It all goes by the wayside. And they just get to have fun, all right? And they feel good about themselves. And when the time for competition happens, no one is a loser. Everyone is a winner. And I have 4 sons. Can you imagine the walls of trophies that we could have if in every competition they each came home with 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 trophies? And so, as I considered, after 4 days of being the teacher, the principal, the one to help socialize and to do sex education and to deal with medication and reading and arithmetic, all of this, I looked at the burden that was on my wife, and I realized why when I come home, she's so exhausted. Okay? I was exhausted. You think doing this show is hard. I know that I make it look easy, but it's really hard, okay? When I had to deal with the education of these 4 boys for 4 days in a row, I realized why my wife is always so tired at night. And husbands and wives, you can read between those lines as well, okay? Just leave it at that. And I thought, I'm going to do my wife a favor. I'm going to do our marriage a favor. and I'm going to do my sons a service. I'm going to give them the chance to fit in with the rest of the culture by taking them out of this crazy setting where we have so many rules and where we're trying to teach them to be men, and how we're trying to teach them Christianity, and how we're trying to teach them appropriate sex education, and how we're trying to teach them that there are times when you win and when you lose, and that the rules do matter. We can take them out of that, which sticks out like a sore thumb in today's culture anyway. And we can put them into a place where they will learn how to be Americans in the 21st century. In closing, because they're telling me I'm over in my time again, I just want to say this. If you have a wife, sir, or a daughter, sir, who is homeschooling your children or your grandchildren, you need to just bow down and you need to kiss her feet. Because she is actually giving one of the greatest services and loving sacrifices that she can do for your children, for your grandchildren, to hopefully save their souls for all eternity and to help them be good Christian men in this life. I've got to take a break. Look, I know that we're over on time, okay? Fine. Get the camera working. Get the boom working. Ladies and gentlemen, a quick word from one of our sponsors. Don't go away. This is the voice of resistance. Ow! I'm all right. I'm all right. Do you want to have knowledge, wisdom, discernment? If so, you have to read good books on theology, history, books that look at the lives of great men and women. So to help you to become a more effective Christian, a better witness for truth, somebody who can engage in productive conversation that exhorts and edifies those that you speak with, we're going to do something crazy. We're offering you these 7 books for a gift of any size. You just pay for the shipping and handling, and then give whatever gift that you can, and we will send them to you. But just to make it a little bit more crazy, I will send you a second copy of my 3 books, autographed. You can give them as a gift to your pastor or to a family member and help extend truth and justice in the world. This is while supplies last. Welcome back, friend. All right, I want to leave you on this at least somewhat sober note. Our children, our grandchildren, are too important to leave in the hands of strangers. Now, you might think, well, I'm not a school teacher. I wouldn't know what to do. Listen, can you read and can you write? If you can read and write, question number 1, who knows your children better than you do? Who knows their strengths or weaknesses better than you do? But Randall, you don't understand. I'm not a teacher. There are so many great products out there. There's so many curriculum. We use St. Thomas Aquinas Academy for our advisors to help us structure what we do. We pull from a great number of the resources that are out there for our children, and we go forward. And the simple fact of the matter is that the data exists now that homeschoolers, by and large, test higher than their counterparts in government schools. Not to mention, they're not being offered drugs, pornography, they're not having sexual harassment committed against them, they're not being taught nonsense. I know that maybe you didn't think about this when you got married, but you could think about it now. At least consider it. Your children are the only eternal thing God gives you in this world besides your own soul. Wouldn't you want to shepherd them a little bit more into eternity?